specifically to celebrate Liberian women and other women around the world who are making serious contributions. So in Liberia, the celebrations will take place tomorrow. Now we are off to our next talking point. We looking at real property tax payment. We have representation from the Liberia Revenue Authority. We have Mr. Isaac B. N. Stevens, he's the Assistant Commissioner, Taxpayer Services Division, Liberia Revenue Authority. And
the money is fine. Yeah, we thank God for this day. LRA is doing well. As you all know, we lost our former Commissioner General a couple of months ago, and this was the last Friday we welcome to LRA our new Commissioner General, Double Jala.
okay.
And as I always say, we are very, very excited to have him. And our vision remains the same. Of course, he will add his own there, but our goal is to be able to mobilize domestic revenue for the development of our country. And we were also very, very glad that he spoke on integrity, accountability, transparency, staff welfare. And our goal remains to always be able to provide exceptional customer services to all of our taxpayers throughout the length and breadth of our country. So it's a new era, and we look forward with great expectations.
Yeah, he has come in a lot as an integrity icon. That's what I hear. A lot of people, I think the senators were like, "Oh, you are the Double Jala. You come with a lot of accolades behind you in terms of."
And that's very important. It's very, very critical and important for the tax house. It's very, very critical that we exercise a real true sense of integrity and a commitment to mobilizing revenue for the government and people of Liberia.
We will go into these discussions, but maybe this was a little bit of a classic joke. You're doing tax collection. Tax.
Yes.
When you say tax, I know a lot of people will say, I know tax. But when you know tax, then let's see how you're approaching tax.
Okay.
In short, what is tax?
Well, generally, taxes are, somebody said taxes are what we pay for a civilized society. But generally, when we talk about tax, there are three things that give rise to someone paying a tax. You either are buying something, you pay tax, like goods and services tax if you're buying, or you own something that you got to pay tax for. For example, real property, right? You own real property. The subject of our conversation this morning. Or you've earned something. That means you are earning income, like the personal income tax. So generally, if you are engaged in any of these three major activities, you are going to pay taxes.
So it's it's a form of payment that you have to make.
Absolutely. It's a form of payment that you have to make depending on what form of activities you are engaged in. And in Liberia, we actually administer about 7 types of taxes. Real property tax just happened to be one of those 7 types of taxes that we administer the Liberian Revenue Authority.
So why taxes? Why do you collect taxes?
Well, taxes are what provides government the needed revenue, right? To provide essential and critical public services to citizens. Without taxes, a lot of the things that government should be able to do for each citizen will not be done. You're talking about health, you're talking about national security, you're talking about defense, you're talking about schools, and you're talking about infrastructure development. So taxes are what we pay for the life that we want to live, as citizens. No one, and I mean, not no country that I know of, have truly developed again. And it's always my saying, and cater to its citizens and provide the needed social services and everything that they need, education, help, without those citizens committing themselves to paying taxes. So we have to garner the courage, the patriotism, the commitment, the loyalty to just pay our fair share of taxes. When we always tell people, when we engage them, that all we want, all we need from you as per law is to pay the taxes that you are obligated to pay under the laws of Liberia, especially the Liberian Revenue Code.
All right. So today we're talking real property tax.
Yes.
But let's start with what is real property? Which property is real? What do you call real property?
Real properties is immovable property. These are tangible. They are fixed structure. Let me just give a practical example. If you went on the road right in front of ELBC, you will see, guys have booths and they are exchanging money or selling scratch cars. Those things can be moved, right? I can move them or they can move them to any location at any given time. And so we cannot call those real property because they are movable. But real properties are immovable. They are fixed. And they include generally land and building. So whenever you hear the word real property, we are talking about land and building and all of the other fixed improvement on the land and or the building. That is what we call real property.
So let's now look at real property tax.
Okay.
Let's talk about real.
Okay. It is a tax that is paid on real properties once a year. And these properties are located within the borders of Liberia.
Mm-hmm.
So real property tax is a tax paid once a year on real property owned within the Republic of Liberia. So generally, if you have land and or building, you are supposed to register that property and begin to pay your real property taxes. But it's paid once a year, the payment period, and that is one of the reasons why I'm here this morning.
Mm-hmm.
The payment period runs from January 1st of each year to July 1st. To July 1st, around the payment. So right now we are in the payment period.
People should be paying now.
Absolutely. People should be paying now. And this is why we are on the airwave to be able to provide some relevant information in terms of the processes and procedure one needs in order to be able to meet their real property tax obligation.
Did you say land?
Yes,
Did you say
land and or building. Yes, and let me
even without a building on
absolutely, yeah, that's what we call empty. It can be empty lot. It can even be farm land. Yes, you are supposed to register that property and then begin to pay your taxes on these properties. Yes, so generally we have land and building, and beyond that we can even subclassify building and land. And so when we talk about land, we are talking about land that are located in urban area and those that are located in rural area,
so
right?
Land in the cities, and
Right,
land
exactly, like in the interior,
Okay.
right? And then when we talk about building, we can subclassify building into commercial, residential, and industrial, and they all carry different rates in terms of property assessment.
So I know our colleague has just joined us, who will try to get her on as quickly as possible. But let's talk a little bit about the different categories of real properties that you look at. What are the real categories of real properties?
Well, like I said earlier, we have commercial, we have industrial, and we have residential. Okay, we have commercial, we have industrial, and we have residential when we are talking about buildings. So those are the three categories. And for residential, the rate or residential property is 0.25% of the value of the property. That's the current
total value.
Yeah, the current total market value of the property.
Okay.
So in other words, if I want to calculate the tax that one's supposed to pay for a residential property, we need the value. And our law says declaration. So you declared, if it is residential,
Mhm.
the owner of the property declares the value of their property. Of course, we have the right at LRA to go back and reassess the property if we feel that perhaps the owner may have understated the value of the property. The law gives us the right to go back and value the property. But our initial interaction for residential, the owner of the property declares the value of the property, and then we multiply that value by the assessment rate of 0.25%. I will give you a practical example in a very few minutes.
Mhm.
And so the same thing happens. The rate for commercial and industrial are the same, but the rate for residential is like 0.25%. That's on the land side. I mean the building
The
side.
building side.
And then we go on the land side. The one that we normally, for the most part, administer are the farmland above acre, which is about 4.5% of the value of the property, and also city or town lots, and it's also 3.5%. Times the value of the property for one to know how much they're supposed to pay. So, for example, if you have a lot, let's say a lot located in Pingsville, and you bought that, or the market value, the current market value of the lot is $2,000, we would take that $2,000 and multiply by the assessment rate for residential property, which is 0.25. So you will only be paying, you'll be paying about $70 a year for that property, and the payment period is from January 1st to July 1st. But let's also assume you have a commercial property that is current market value is 10,000 United States dollar.
Like a shop, like a store.
Absolutely, a commercial. The rate is 1.5. So we would take that 10,000, multiply by the rate, which is 1.5, and you'll be paying about $150, right? $150 a year. The same rate will also apply to industrial. But let's take that $10,000. If again, like if it is residential, you'll be only paying $25 for land. For $2,000, you'll be paying $70 a year. So real property tax is a function of the current market value of the property multiplied by the assessment rate.
Okay, so your colleague just
Martina.
joined. Martina,
Yeah.
please give us your address, your name.
Okay.
where you-
My name is Martina Brooks. I'm a senior tax education officer within the Taxpayer Service Division, where my boss, Arthur Stevens, serves as the assistant commissioner.
Okay, so I have, she's my colleague, but I have
Yeah,
to
okay.
ask that because
That's
I have
all right.
2 eyes. The other guys got more eyes than me. So
I'm the outsider here, You
Yeah.
guys are colleague, and
yeah,
I'm not a
in
journalist.
this
so.
instance, the 2 of you are one. I am one.
Yeah.
Martina, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so in any of you can take this one. You already talk about the tax rate. I don't know if there's something you want to add on that. But what is you talk about the difference between residential property and commercial property.
Yeah, so the difference is, let me just go through that quick.
Mhm.
The residential is where you live, you and your family, right? There's no profit motive. You are not going to use that building to get any small thing or whatever. You're not going to rent
not
it out.
renting
You're
one
not
room.
renting one room. If the day you begin to rent a room, that property automatically turns into commercial.
Okay.
And people need to be aware of that. So you can't be living there and then you say it is residential, but you are also using it in terms of monetary transaction, in terms of rental or lease payment. Then it turns into a commercial. And then commercial property, we already talked about it, most commercial properties are where people like the store,
Yeah,
like the
the
shop, that
businesses.
rental properties are
Right.
absolutely.
If they have schools,
Cycling hotels and stuff and things are considered residential property. We'll come to the school school later.
Okay.
Yeah, those are commercial property, and then we have the industrial property. That's what we talk about, where goods are manufactured and for sale on the general market or so forth.
So you
I just wanted
yeah,
to
Martina,
also
go
add
ahead.
to that. He also made mention of residential becoming commercial.
Right.
He talked about where maybe you had 3 rooms and you want to stay in one room. You give your child another room and decide to rent another. But also, if you decide to occupy the 3 rooms
Mhm.
as a family and you have a garage attached,
Mhm.
and you say, okay, since I'm a businesswoman, instead of going red light, let me open up the garage
Mhm.
and make it, a shop. Then the building also becomes commercial.
Oh, okay. So you might say, "Well, I'm parking my car there anyway." No, no, no. It's a shop now. You have to
Maybe you
pay,
start
right?
selling pepper
or
and
fire
all that
cool,
thing, yeah,
right?
fire cool,
Charcoal.
pepper
Yeah.
cool, and all
It's,
that things. Yeah.
okay. So but you gave taxpayers the right to declare. Where is the surety? How do you know that they have not under declared? How do you know that they are not, or maybe for some reason they are telling you my property, my commercial property costs so much, maybe for some reason. How do you determine that they're giving you the real value of the property?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We can never be 100% sure, but we encourage everyone because it is impossible, at least at this moment, or inconceivable at this moment, to think that we are able to value all of them. We do not have the staff, the resources to be able to send valuation officers throughout the length and breadth of the country to value property. So for residential, we ask the owner of the property to declare the fair market value of the property. When we talk about fair market value, we are saying what a reasonable seller, as owner of that particular property, is willing to sell, and what a willing buyer is willing to purchase that property for at the given time. That is considered the market value.
Okay.
So we are depending on your integrity and your credibility to give us, the value. Or in some cases, when people are building their homes, they accumulate all of the costs, and so they have a reasonable estimate of what that property costs to build. So those are the things that you look at when we ask for current market value. And this is why we reserve the right as per the Liberian Revenue Code to go back and revalue your property. If we feel, again, I think I said that earlier, that your property, you may have understated the value of the property, or you may have devalued your property, the law gives us the right to go back and reassess the property. So when you come to register your property, we ask for a picture of the property, so that we have a reasonable understanding of how the property look, and perhaps look at the structure, where it is and stuff and things, because all of those factor into the determination of the
Especially
value
you're
of the
talking about
property.
rural and urban.
Yeah.
You gotta know what these properties are.
Yeah, but it's not about rural or urban, because for tax purposes, all property within the republic, right, are assessed the same rate.
Okay.
The only difference is the value. The only difference is the value, but the rate is applicable. If you belong to a certain category, the rate is the same through in any of the counties or so forth.
So what we try to encourage is honesty.
Okay.
Most times the ordinary Liberian would say the government is corrupt, but sometimes it starts from us within the community. So you bring your house picture, knowing that this house costs maybe 50,000, but because you want to honor, declare, or pay little amount, so you tell the ARA the property costs 20,000. I remember one of these days we're out there providing tax education, and we're trying to, tell them what it means to be a taxpayer and what is needed of them. And we're like, that thing you're talking, we don't understand it. So they've been just talking in the Liberian way. So if you have your horse now, if you're listening, you have your horse. You say the horse here, I won't move from here to go pay B horse. But let me say this one. So what you take to the ARA is what you intend to sell that house. Today you say, I want to sell my house. How much you will charge? So if you want to charge 50,000, but in our system you have 20,000. So that's why he said the current market value.
The one
What
for
you intended today, you say, I
Okay.
want to sell the horse here with a 50,000.
Okay.
So but at ARA you telling all that 20,000. So what happens if it's the government and say, okay, let's go and check your record, and something else is there? The government will say, okay, I will pay what you have, initially declared.
So, what is the frequency of assessment that you do? Maybe you assess my properties this year, and 3 years down the road, some things have changed. So that's why I'm asking about the frequency of assessment.
Well, we could go in and assess property, right, more frequently if we have reasons to believe that perhaps this property have grown into, I mean, the value, value added is so much. But the law provides that we, as per law, we're supposed to go back and reassess property every 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, every 5
So a
years.
scenario
But some properties are more frequently assessed
Yes.
than the assessment period of 5 years, because if visibility is drawn to a property and we feel that the value have substantially increased, we have the right to go and reassess. But the law calls for us to complete assessment every 5 years.
So the scenario I'm trying to draw is around a hotel, for an example.
Right.
I have not done, physical expansion of the building, but I've done improvements,
Right.
serious improvements that will now say, okay, if I were doing $100 per room per night, it's now going to $500. So how is it just by physically looking at the building? How do you know that you need to go back to doing it, to reassess the?
And what we also actually encourage property owner, right?
Mhm.
You know that the value, and this is where Martina was talking about the earning state and the sense of integrity, right?
Mhm.
You are supposed to be paying on your current market value.
Mhm.
So values are added either through a physical addition or through improvement, because you could start up building a hotel with a whole different architectural design, and then later on you change it and you add more value, right, to the property. Some people will come and say, I have made improvement on my property and I need to redeclare the value, of my property, especially for residential. But for commercial, the law provides that you engage the services of an engineer or an architect to value the property, and then you bring in the valuation, and then we put it into our system. That way we have a record of your valuation on inception, and then we can always come back every 5 years to reassess, or as frequently as possible based on the improvement you've made, you've done to the property, either by addition or by infrastructure improvement.
Martina, you were talking about appealing to the consciences of people to be integrous, to be honest. But it is not a giving. There may be instances where people will just not be honest. Are there any punitive actions? What do you do in an instance where you realize that this person has decided to underrate the building for their own reason, and they have maybe kept a secret from you? You have not known it over time. What do you do?
Well, some of the actions are punishable by law.
Okay.
Like my AC rightly said, some of those we came across last year. Last year was election year, and people were coming in every hour to obtain tax clearance. So some of the properties they bought, some said my property is 10,000, others said 15,000, but some of the properties are maybe at roof level, or we just build a fence around the land. So what we encourage them to do is that once something has been added to this, you come back. But if you come back and tell us, okay, it's still at this level, and then we send people in the field to go and assess these things like he talked about, and we realize that you have been dishonest, we will invite you. He will elaborate on that more, what the punishment is, but we will evaluate the property and see as to whether you are being truthful or not. If not, we go to the court, and some of the things are punishable by law.
So
let me just add again. Yeah, we emphasizing integrity because, like I said, we do not have the manpower to go in the field and value every single property within the republic.
Right.
And so we depend on the credibility of our system, the integrity of our system, but more importantly, the sense of loyalty, the understanding that taxes are the bedrock of every nation, and if we want our country to aspire to its greatest hope, dream, and aspiration as a nation, that all of us have to commit to paying, our taxes. We try to draw on that as much as possible, but the law also gives us remedy if one refuses, right? to pay their taxes or to declare the fair market value of their property. We can actually back assess as well. We can go back and assess. For example, maybe your property has been valued for 100,000 and you have improved that property over the last 5 years, and the value has gone up to probably $1 million, and perhaps we didn't come into to reassess your property, and you know very well that in the last 5 years you've made tremendous improvement. It is the onus is also on you, because we are in a regime called self-declaration.
Okay.
That means we're depending on citizens to come in and declare the fair market value of their property. So in those instances, then what we would do, once we find out, we could go back, right, to say your property after the 5 year was valued at $1 million, but you never came, and we didn't, even though we didn't come as well, but you never came and self-declare as well, because we are in the self-declaration regime. And for those who don't pay at all, if you are already in our system and you have not paid your taxes, let me just go through this very quickly. We say the payment period is from January 1st to July 1st, right? So if you don't pay after July 31st, your taxes, your core taxes begins to accrue interest and penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, penalty is assessed at 5%. Okay, it's assessed at 5%, but we cannot exceed 25%. So that means for every month that elapses after the due date, you will be assessed 5%, 5%, 5%, up to 25%. And that is where we will start with respect to the penalty. With respect to the interest, at the time you come to pay your taxes, the interest is assessed based on the Central Bank of Liberia interest rate prevailing at the time that you come to pay. What also the law provides for is, if you are delinquent, that we send you what we call a letter of determination. This letter simply informs you that you have a tax obligation that you have to pay on your real property. So please come in and pay your taxes, or come and sit with us. Let us reason together to see how we can facilitate the payment of your taxes. If you do not respond to our letter of determination, the law provides that we can close that property for 72 hours. And within that 72 hours, again, the encouragement is being given to you to come to us, so we can sit and see how you can liquidate your tax obligation. So after the 72-hour closure notice and you have not paid, the law says we can package all of your tax information, documentations in terms of your delinquency, and submit it through our legal department to the Ministry of Justice for prosecution. And if the case is adjudicated and it is found that you are liable or that you owe the taxes that you have not paid, the court can auction your property and they pay your tax obligation and give you whatever is left of that sale.
That would be now after going through
All of-
jurisdiction
everything.
process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That is, after you go through, the case in a competent code of jurisdiction.
Does
before.
does the regime fail to file, fail to pay? Those different failures in our taxation. Do they also apply to you? Like you have a specific time to declare. If you declare or if you file and you don't pay, there are penalties that go along. Is that the same with the real estate
If you don't
taxation?
declare at all, that means you're not in our system. You have not come and register, right?
Okay.
The law requires that whenever we are fortunate to come across your property, we can go back 5 years and reassess.
Okay.
Okay.
And you
So-
have to pay for the 5 years.
You have to
Yeah.
pay for the 5 years. But I don't want that to scare people up not to come and register their property. Those 5 years, we can sit, we can make a plan. We can make a plan to see how we can help you to better facilitate the payment of your taxes. But it's important to register your property. A lot of people don't even know. There are a lot of houses that have been broken down because of the construction of the
On the road.
on the road, right? So people have value, they attach values to this property. Like Martina was saying, let's assume you undervalue your property in our system, right? Government's supposed to pay you or reimburse you, right? The fair market value of your property that is broken down in order for the construction to go on. But in our system, you have 20,000. Government come and ask you, what is the value of your property? Because we need to pay for the property that have been destroyed. and you tell the government, say 50,000, and the government can come to our system and looking and find out that only 20 you've been paying taxes on the 20,000 because that's what you declare as the fair market value of your property. By right, the government should only be paying the 20,000 and not the 50,000 because you have not declared that 50,000 as the fair market value, of your property. Additionally, a lot of banks now are requiring, right, that you pay your taxes before you can use your property as a collateral, exactly, right? Okay. So those are pressing.
So you got to be current with your tax payment.
Your taxes, exactly, because when you use the property as a collateral, the bank now have an interest in that property because they lend you money and you use the building. So they want to make sure that the government will not come back and say you owe taxes on that property because government lien takes priority over all other debt.
Okay.
Yes, over all other debt. Even if you took loan from a private bank, right, to finance the construction of that building, if you owe taxes on it, the government has the right to take that property and sell it. And what will happen is the bank will lose its interest in the property. So those are just some personal benefit why people should register their property and pay taxes on.
Yeah, I mean, some of those who go to pay their real property taxes, do they also have access to tax information numbers?
Yes,
Yeah.
so
They do.
Yes, we have a hotline.
Okay.
You can call. It's actually free. So if you call us, we pay. We call you, we pay. So it's free. It's 0770-572-572. And what we try to do is to encourage voluntary compliance. So if you have issues that you do not understand, the Taxpayer Service Division is just there at the headquarters ground floor. You can always walk in. But wherein you can't, you call the number or send a WhatsApp to us and we'll respond to you.
Okay, I heard about the hotline, but I was actually talking about the tax information number because then
So if you have a property, right, you come to LRA, you come to our registration section. That's it's right in my office, in our office, Taxpayer Services Division. We have officers there that will register your property. When you are coming, you need to bring along your national ID. Okay, and or if you have a passport, you bring those two identification documents, and then we will register along with a picture of your property and a passport size picture
of yourself. Okay,
we will register your property and then print up your assessment, and you'll be able to pay. It will take about 15-20 minutes to register to get your tax identification number,
right,
and also be able to register your property.
Okay, so how can you go back and check on how much tax you've paid on that property?
This is why each person or everyone in the country, if you are registered with the tax authority, you will be issued a tax identification number.
Good.
So when you come to LRA, even you can call your name, you can tell me, say your name is John Brown, but more uniquely, I will quickly identify you by your tax identification number because that number is unique to you as an individual. No one else in this country will have that number. So we put your tax identification number in our tax administration system, and then it will pull up all your information in terms of both your payment and obligations.
Okay, so that number holds
all your information,
all your information
yes,
about your payments and your obligations.
Right.
Okay, so let's go back to the payment process again.
Yeah.
I mean the real property tax payment method.
Okay.
Let's put some emphasis on.
So the payment, we have processes in place and procedures in place. We just installed a new system at LRA, Liberia Integrated Tax Administration System. It is a game changer, because our goal is to digitize most of our processes and procedure at the authority. And so this system allows you to print your bill once you are registered in our system. You can print your bill anywhere you are in any out of the country. You can print your bill and be able to pay your taxes. You can print your bill, or you come to LRA, they will print it out for you, and you just walk simply to your bank and give the information to your bank, and the bank will just pay your taxes. We are working with all of the commercial banks in the country. Some of them have been fully integrated. Some of them are online to be integrated, and it makes it easier. Apart from that, you can also use mobile money, especially for those who are in some of the leeward counties where they have no access to commercial banks. You can use mobile money. And also, if your tax obligation is less than $250, you can also pay in cash. And we have tax business offices located in all of our counties. You can simply go there and be able to pay your taxes. We trying to do, we were doing it, but we're trying to discourage it a little bit in terms of a bank transfer where the bank don't really need to do that now, because once you print out your bill, the bank handles everything from there. Yeah.
Okay, so currently, what would you say the outlook is like in terms of people who are coming in to pay their real property taxes? Are they really coming? Are you near satisfied with the number of people coming in, or are you finding ways to reach out to them to say, "Oh, we're reminding you to come back and do your payments"?
Well, we always find a way to do that.
Okay.
That is one of the reasons why Martina and I are here this morning.
Okay.
Besides radio appearances, we have
community engagement.
Yes, routine engagements and personal engagement with companies, with organizations, with institutions, where we actually go and do the presentations, issue flyers, community engagements, that we do training for newly registered. We do a lot to try to disseminate information, tax information to taxpayer, to facilitate the payment of their taxes. You asked if I was satisfied. No, I'm not satisfied. The day that I will be satisfied is the day when all of the properties in Liberia are registered in our system. We have a long way.
That's ambitious.
Exactly. We have a long way to get there. We have a very, very long way to get there. But that is our goal, because without that, like I said, we will never meet the development needs of our country. We need to pay our fair share of taxes to mobilize revenue. And that's how other countries develop. And so we have to do the same thing. So no, I'm not satisfied. Are people coming in? Yes. People are coming in. Could they come in even more? Yes. They could come in, even more. But we are getting there. We will not get there in one brilliant moment, or just that one time. It's a process, right? And we are working very, very hard to ensure that we can register our properties even within the county. We have real estate expansion now. We launched that in Margibi. We are now in Grand Bassa in partial fulfillment of the local government act that calls for property taxes that are collected in the counties or locally be share with government. So right now we are doing 50-50 revenue sharing in Margibi for properties that are within Margibi, as well as in Grand Bassa County. And these are pilot, and the goal is that we can learn from this pilot and be able to duplicate it into the other counties as well.
But we've been hearing about the pilot for a while now. Are we already seeing early signs of?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some progress, being made, and we are excited about it. And like I said, there are challenges, but we are meeting those challenges heads on and moving forward. The goal again is to ensure that taxes are paid in all of our, especially property taxes are paid in all of our county. And the local government stands to benefit as well, because revenue sharing provides that if the local government work with us, this was a tripartite agreement, actually relationship between Ministry of Finance, Internal Affairs, and LRA. Again, in partial fulfillment of the local government act. But it is even important that the local government really get itself involved, because it's mutually benefiting for them as well as a local government, because the 50% stays there to develop the county, right? In terms of infrastructure and social services, and then the 50% comes to national government to provide all of the other services that the government should be providing.
Okay. My experience is that a topic like this will usually have a lot of callers coming in. So
Yes,
at this
sir.
point, I just
Absolutely.
like to look at, is there any specific point that we didn't, because I see that we generally have exhausted what we're here
Yeah,
to talk about.
so what we would do, let's hear from our callers.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
because that's very important.
Okay.
Many of them might already know what we're talking about, but they may have other questions that they want to ask, and then we can close out with a few other information.
Yes, thank you. So there you go. You can call us this morning on 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096, or 0776-215-5568. Isaac Stevens is here. I also have my colleague Martina. She's also in here. If you have questions about real property tax payment, you can now call. So let me go to the first caller on the line and see who is there. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Brother Emmanuel H. John calling from the Japan Freeway or Topo Valley, the Sunbelt to be precise.
Okay, so let's hear you.
Yes, with regard to topic on discussion, and lengthily as our LRA representative have elaborated with all clarity.
Okay.
Now, my point here is I would like to know what becomes of that old widow who is not doing anything but have a little Congo, a place. How will government relate to her payment when she is not able at all to do such?
Okay.
That's one. Secondly, I would like to know, for we have experienced this in other countries, using Ghana as case study, wherein the citizen, as with regard to our own country now, Nigerian citizens having properties. Well, what I would like to know, what is the structure put in place by LRA or engineers or experts that the citizen rate or rate of tax payment, how is it going to be like, or is it generally across the board, whereas the citizen and that of other Indian foreigners will be paying alike only because they had a rate of 2.5 to some other area and 1.5 to some other area.
Okay.
That I would like to know. It is my concern.
All
Thank
right.
you for putting me in the time.
Thank you. So let's take this other caller. Caller, please tell me your name and where you're calling from. Hello, caller. Hello. All right, we're not getting you, but let's pick this one. Hello there, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Ibrahim Johnson, calling from Broad Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to the topic on the discussion. It's a good thing for us to pay tax for our property.
Mhm.
But I want to know, many people have property. Most of them, they were having money when they built their property. Now, most of them are now working. So if in case you are not working, how can you pay the tax, and what the government will do when you are out of job and you're not able to get money to pay your tax? Because some people in the house, and this is the only thing that depends on, and they don't have money to even to do anything. For now, they are out of job. So what the government will do within that process?
Okay. All right. Thank you. You had a job before, now you don't have a job. Let's see whether this caller is on the line. Hello, caller. Okay. So we'll stay here at 0880-514-096, 0880-514-096, 0776-215-5568. Let's take this caller. Hello there, caller. Hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Belinda with I'm calling you from.
Okay, so let's hear you.
Yes, let me be appreciated for the studio. I'm a forester from the University of Liberia. Well, I want to hear from you when it comes to the swamp area or the swampy terrain. What are they doing about it? Because in the Matani area, you have people, building in the swamp, suppressing the other,
Hello?
species. Yes.
No, we're discussing real property tax. I hope you are not listening to another radio station.
What?
We are discussing real property tax. We're not discussing construction in the prohibited areas. Okay, thank you. So we're still here. We're taking a few more calls. Let's pick this one. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Boss John Marble and I thank on the one my campaign district one.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you for the topic on our discussion this morning. But I had a concern about the taxes. Government said that I'm happy with the situation. I wanted to pay my taxes, but I had a situation which my father passed off and gave me the property. But end of the day, my stepmother keep on another man and then occupy the property, and I don't even, I can't even go there. But the LRA give me the idea if I can continue to pay the tax, if I can continue to pay the tax, and they can put the case for the woman to live on the land.
You say somebody came and took away your father's property,
Yes, sir.
and you want to pay the tax, but you want LRA to help you to fight to get a president so you can pay the tax?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, I hear you. They pick you up, you will get an answer. Let's take this one. Hello there, caller.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Rufus Soda, calling from Coconut.
Okay.
So, let me very laconic and here. I am so happy today
Mm-hmm.
to hear LRA on the radio, educating us on the real property tax.
Okay.
Okay, my concern with the lady in the city who said all of people go and build a house and then create a garage. After certain time, they use the garage as a shop and all of them. So in this case, where were you, which category were you, put those people in? People who
Okay.
build house and then put shop on it.
Okay.
Or people who build house and then maybe 2-3 rooms and then they use one as a rental house.
Okay.
So they rent it out.
All right. Thank you. Uh-huh.
Secondly,
Uh-huh.
okay, if you have a building that costs, let's say, 100,000 US, what would be, the tax that you pay for every year? Thank you.
Okay. I guess you talk about the tax rate and assessment, all of that, but he will talk about it again. So thank you very much for calling. Let's take this one again. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Brother Arjun Mahina calling from Wetland Road, specific one time.
Reverend, let's hear you.
Okay, my concern has to do with looking at the building to be a little fresh today. You have come and got the value, and I want to see whether you take into consideration the depreciation of the building at about 10 years. What counts of that?
Did you say depreciation of the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you bought the zinc and
Yeah.
the tile and the rest of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We're still here. Let's take this caller. Hello, caller. Hello there, caller.
Hello.
Yes, please lower your radio or cut it off.
Yeah, thank you very much. My
Yes.
name is Ronaldson calling. I'm calling from right here, community, GSL Road.
Mm-hmm. So let's hear you.
The importance of paying taxes
Mm-hmm.
cannot be overemphasized. It's good that every citizen in this country should pay taxes. But my question is, you are actively on the ground collecting taxes. The taxes we pay, we are with the hope of benefit these taxes that we are paying by providing public services to us.
Mm-hmm.
For example, our public hospitals, the schools, and the rest. So what role are you playing to monitor the taxes we are paying and how they are spent? I asked this question and somebody told me your office is not responsible to monitor the usage of these funds,
Okay.
the one we call taxes. So are you only active in collecting, but you're not concerned about how the taxpayers' money are being used? That's my question.
Okay. Thank you. That's the last one. We're not going to take additional calls. So you have several questions coming.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get your response.
All right. We had somebody ask a widow, if a widow lives in a house and they are not doing anything, how would they pay their taxes? That's one of the reasons why taxes are also important, because taxes help to provide growth in the country for everybody. Without taxes, we would never even begin to see how government can assist in the creation of jobs for its citizens, right? How government can improve infrastructure for investment. Without taxes, we can never be able to do those things. But we got to realize here that the widow has an asset, and the object of taxation for real property is not the pricing. And I understand that there are people who may not be in a position to pay. But this is why you need to come to LRA so that you can sit with us to see how we can help, perhaps draw up stipulation that you can afford to be paying in Liberia. We say small until you finish paying your taxes. But the object of taxation for real property is the property and not the individual. Otherwise, we will have everybody finding reasons perhaps why not to pay taxes. The second pricing talk about the rate. The rate is the same throughout the country. It doesn't matter which county you live in. The tax rate is applicable there, and it's the same across the board. There's no specific rate for local and different rate for bond, but it's again based on the value of the property. It's not the location, but the value of the property, and sometimes the location can also factor into the value. The next person talk about, I think it's the same. Somebody said they were not working, and so how will they pay their taxes? Again, the object of real property taxation is the property and not the individual. We have full employment in Liberia where everybody is working, but I don't know which country has full employment either. Maybe there are one or two that I don't know about. But the object is the property, and the property is an asset, and the Liberian law says you have to pay property taxes. And then somebody called Imagibi, if we can assist and go to court. No, you have to go to court by yourself, adjudicate, your case, right? Or you can even go to the Liberian Land Authority. Those are the people who, in terms of land disputes and so forth, you have to settle that through the court system.
Especially when you're talking about properties, probably it's a civil matter. You got to go to the civil court to recover your property.
But he also has to ensure the property is in maybe his name.
Okay, exactly. Because that's the only way you
don't know what happened when your father died as to whether the property was in your stepmother's name.
So there's still some help coming your way, my brother, who said you want the LRA to go and help you to fight. They give you some ideas.
Yeah, we're giving him some ideas. So go through the court system, make sure the first thing is, like Martina said, that the property is in your name, because it gives you the legal right, to go to court. Another person talk about the garage with the house.
From Soul Clinic.
Yeah, in Soul Clinic. If it is residential, the moment you start to use any part of that house, whether it's a room, whether it's a garage, where you turn it into, a shop or stuff, the category now changes from residential to commercial. And then you will have to pay the commercial rate, which is 1.5% of the value of the property. Somebody talk about 100,000 and what would be the tax. I think that the same individual.
The same person from Soul Clinic, he asked, about the 100,000. So the tax rate for that is 0.25%.
Yes, if it is residential, yes, 0.25.
You pay $250 every year. So sometimes people think that they have these very big properties and they will pay so much tax. But sometimes you realize that the tax you pay for an entire year is just $25. It's just $50. And you're not paying monthly. The other day, someone was asking, I'm paying this for, withholding on rent. Am I going to do this like every month? No. It's like for every year. So if you're paying $250 on your property, you pay $250 between the period of January 1 to July 1. Okay. So it's not on a monthly basis or every 2 months.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Then another person, I think he's a reverend from Pipeline.
Okay.
He was talking about depreciation. For the most part, real property tends to appreciate in value, right? For the most part. There are occasions when, if you are not taking care of, of the property, obviously it will depreciate.
Right.
Especially for business, like commercial property, depreciation is always taken into consideration for the most part, because they do that when they are filing their taxes. They take depreciation expense for commercial building or industrial building. And residential, if the property has gone down and perhaps not livable again, or it has deteriorated, obviously that's considered. This is why we always say fair market value, right? This is why we use the word fair market value, because what you pay for the property yesterday may be different today, depending on how the property looks, right? If you have improved on it, the value will go up. If you have let it, deteriorate, obviously the value will go down. And the last question, something had to do with public service usage of the fund. It is our goal that public money will be used for public service services. That tax money will be used for the people of Liberia. But our mandate as an institution, the Liberia Revenue Authority, is to collect the legitimate taxes, the rightful taxes. We can offer our professional advice to the legislature, to the Ministry of Finance, but we are not the disbursement arms of government. Right. Neither are we the authority to prepare budget, and disperse funds. The budget process goes through our legislature branch of government. They are the one that decide the allocations of funding. Right. So we are not the one that.
So you collect, you don't do the disbursement.
No, yeah, we don't.
We'd like to thank you a lot for coming. I think we provided quite.
If you could give me just 1 minute.
That's 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Yes. Okay. So Martina, give this number is 0770-572-573.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay. Yeah.
Take your time.
Okay. 0770-572-572, or you can catch us on our website www.lra.gov.lr, and you can also, on that site, you can actually calculate your property taxes. We have a calculator there where you can put in the value of your property. It will tell you ahead of time how much your obligation will be before you even come to LRA. You can also catch us on social media, Liberia Revenue Authority, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and also YouTube. All right. Okay. But don't forget that number 0770-572-572. And maybe you might just be lucky to catch Martina to answer you.
Isaac B. Stevens is the Assistant Commissioner, Taxpayer Services, Division, Liberia Revenue Authority. I also have my own colleague, Martina Brooks. They've been here today talking taxes, real property taxes. And let's see if they can come again sometime soon. Thanks for being a part. My name is Anthony Vawan. This program returns tomorrow. Have a great day from Pittsville.
Thank you.